Hello everyone, my name is Nikita Tajne and today we are going to discuss about the digestive system in human beings. So the digestive system consists of alimentary canal and associated digestive glands. Alimentary canal is a long tubular structure of the varying diameter starting from mouth and ending with a anus. So we see the let's one by one its component. Alimentary canal. Alimentary canal is about 8 to 10 meters long and it consists of mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, small stomach, small intestine, large intestine and anus. So first mouth, it is the uppermost transverse slit like opening of the alimentary canal and it is bound by the upper lip and the lower lip. It leads to a large cavity called the buccal cavity or the oral cavity. Mouth is used to ingest the food. Then we see about the esophagus. Esophagus, it is a long, thin and the narrow tube connecting pharynx to the stomach. It's about the 25 centimeters long and it passes through the thoracic cavity, passes the diaphragm and leads to the stomach. The food moves through the esophagus due to the rhythmic contraction of the longitudinal and the circular muscles. The wave of contraction and the relaxation is called the peristalsis. Then stomach, it is a sac-like J-shaped 25 to 30 centimeter long organ and it can be divided into further three parts: cardiac, fundus and the pyrolic stomach. Cardiac stomach is the first part in the esophagus in which the esophagus opens. The middle part is called fundus and the remaining part is the pyrolic stomach which open into the duodenum of the small intestine. Sphincters are present at the both end of the stomach. The anterior sphincter present at the opening of the esophagus into stomach is called the cardiac sphincter, while the posterior one present at the opening of the stomach into the duodenum is called as the pyrolic stomach. The stomach stores the food and churns it. The churning breaks up the food into the small pieces and facilitate the mixing of the food with the gastric juices secreted by the inner wall of the stomach. The small intestine, it's about 6 meter long and 2.5 centimeter broad tube compactly coiled within an abdominal cavity. The coil are held together by the connective tissue membrane called the mesenteries, supporting the blood vessels, lymph vessel and the nerves. It divided into three parts: duodenum, jejunum and the ileum. Duodenum is the U-shaped and about 25 centimeter long and bile duct and the pancreatic duct open into the duodenum. Then jejunum, narrower than the duodenum, and ileum, it's a little bit broader than the jejunum. Then large intestine, it is a broader than the small intestine and it can be divided into two parts, that is colon and the rectum. Then colon, it is the anterior region and is differentiated into the three parts: the ascending colon, transverse colon and the descending colon. The colon is lined internal by the mucosal cells secreting the mucosa that makes the passage of undigested material easy. Then rectum, it is the posterior region of the large intestine. Undigested material called the fecal matter is stored in the rectum temporarily before it's expelled through the anus. Then anus, the rectum opens to the outside by the opening called anus, which is guarded by the sphincter. It removes the undigested matter outside by the process known as the defecation or the egestion. So it's all about the digestive system in the human beings. Now we discuss about the respiratory system. So human respiratory system includes the nostrils, nasal chambers, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, lungs, diaphragm and intercostal muscles. So first we see about the nostrils and the nasal chamber. Nostrils are the external opening of the nose through which the oxygen rich air is taken inside the body and carbon dioxide the outside the body. These are called the external nares. Similarly, a pair of internal opening is present. They open into the pharynx. This is called the internal nares. Then space between the external and internal nares is known as the nasal chamber. Internally, each one is made by the mucous membrane and ciliated epithelium. It is divided into the right and left part by the cartilage known as the mesenteroid. Each nasal chamber is further divided into three parts: vestibule, respiratory tract and the sensory tract. Then pharynx, nasal chamber open into the pharynx. It is short vestibule tube measuring about 12 cm in length. The respiratory and the food passage cross each other in the pharynx by the two separate passages. Its upper part is known as the nasopharynx, which help in the conduction of the air, and the lower part is the laryngopharynx or the oropharynx, conducting food to the esophagus. They kill bacteria trapped into the mucus. Then larynx, it is the sound producing organ. In males, the larynx increase in the size at the time of the puberty. Hence, it is called the Adam's apple and can be noticed in the neck region. From the pharynx, air enters the larynx, an opening called the glottis. Then it prevents the entry of food particles. It prevents the entry of food particles into the respiratory passage. Trachea, it is also known as a windpipe. It is about 12 cm long and 2.5 cm wide. It lies in the front of esophagus and extends downward into the neck. The wall of the trachea is made up of fibrous muscular tissues supported by the C-shaped cartilage rings. These are 16 to 20 in numbers. They make a trachea rigid. The trachea is internally lined with the ciliated epithelium and the mucous glands. If any foreign particle enters, it is immediately expelled out by the coughing action. Then bronchia and the bronchioles. The distal end of trachea is divided into bronchi behind the sternum. Each bronchus is supported by a complete ring of cartilage. It enters into the lungs at the respective side. On entering the lungs, each bronchi further divides into the secondary and the tertiary bronchi, and the tertiary bronchi divided into the many minor bronchioles. Wall of each bronchioles does not have the cartilage rings. Each bronchiole ends into the balloon-like alveolus. The alveoli make the lungs spongy and elastic. Then lungs. These are the principal respiratory organs. Lungs are paired, hollow, elastic organ. They are located in the thoracic cavity. Each lung is enclosed in the pleural sac. It is made up of two membranes, outer parietal and inner visceral. The enclosed cavity is called the pleural cavity. It is filled with the pleural fluid, which lubricates the pleura and prevents the friction when the pleural membrane side over each other. Lungs are pink in color, soft, elastic and distenable. They are highly vascular. The left lung is divided into the two lobes. Then the right lung is divided into three lobes. Each lobe consists of bronchioles, which terminate in a bunch of spherical thin wall air sac called the alveolar sacs. Each sacs about 20 alveoli, which looks like grapes. They are covered with a network capillaries from the pulmonary artery and the vein. Then alveoli have many thin, highly elastic walls. Each alveolus is about 0.1 mm in diameter. The human lungs has about 750 million alveoli, which increases the surface area of the exchange of gases. The total area covered by them is about 50 times the surface area of the skin. The outermost covering of the lung is made up of about 50 times surface area of the skin. The outermost covering of the lung is made up of smooth muscle fibers called the visceral pleura, and in the interior there are many lobules. Each lobule contains the alveolar duct, alveolar sac and the alveoli. This makes the alveoli very flexible, and alveoli are supplied by the network of the pulmonary capillaries. Thank you.